I never planned to become famous for eating, but sometimes the universe has a sense of humor, and mine apparently finds me hilarious. My name is Lyra Chen, and until 3 weeks ago, I was the most forgettable person in the entire entertainment industry. I had no acting skills, no singing voice, and my dancing once got compared to a grandmother sorting beans by a comment section that refused to lie. My agent Solon had scraped together 30,000 fake followers for me on a budget of roughly the price of a nice dinner just so I wouldn't look completely abandoned online. He kept saying I had potential. I kept asking potential for what exactly? Then he got me booked as a background panel guest on a popular food variety show called Table for 10. The kind of show where celebrities cook and chat and pretend they're all best friends while secretly elbowing each other for screen time. Before filming, Solon pulled me aside. Remember, your persona is aloof and mysterious. Speak as little as possible. Don't touch anything. Don't embarrass yourself. And whatever you do, don't eat like a starving raccoon. I nodded solemnly. During the recording, I was very obedient. I spoke exactly 3 sentences the entire time. Hello, everyone. I'm Lyra Chen. Could I please have 3 more servings of rice? And would it be possible to take home the untouched seafood platter and the braised pork knuckles afterwards? The director stared at me like I'd just asked to adopt his firstborn child. He waved a hand dismissively and told me to do whatever I wanted. By the time I happily left the studio, clutching a massive bag of luxury leftovers, my agent had already fled the building with his face buried in his hands. I just didn't want to waste food. The episode aired a week later, and the internet lost its collective mind. I had maybe 45 seconds of total screen time as a background decoration. But somehow I shot to the top of every trending list. The comments were a storm. I don't know why, but watching this obscure celebrity eat gives me a sense of spiritual peace. Her eyes literally lit up when she saw those pork knuckles like she'd found the meaning of existence. I'm not even hungry, but I just devoured 2 bowls of rice watching her. This is completely unhinged. There's no acting here, just pure primal instinct. It's genuinely refreshing to see a female celebrity eat without pretending she survives on air and sadness. I'm a fan now. What's her name again? Someone turned my 3 bites, 1 piglet eating style into clips that spread across every platform like wildfire. Late-night talk show hosts played them. Food bloggers analyzed them frame by frame. I became the unofficial mascot of people who genuinely love food. Within 48 hours, I gained millions of followers overnight. My popularity briefly overshadowed a major scandal involving a top celebrity and an alleged secret marriage. Solon stared at his phone with the expression of a man who had just witnessed the laws of physics reverse themselves. I don't understand, he whispered. You literally just ate. I nodded. Do you want me to do it again? His eyes took on a slightly unhinged gleam. Starting today, your persona is the foodie. Forget aloof. Forget mysterious. Eat. Eat like your life depends on it. Eat with the fury of someone who hasn't seen food in 3 generations. As long as it doesn't physically harm you, eat like there's no tomorrow. I felt a small thrill of excitement. Let me get this straight. You're going to pay me to eat. Yes. Whatever I want. Well, within reason. No restrictions. He sighed. No restrictions. I could have wept with joy. To capitalize on my sudden fame, Solon immediately booked me on an outdoor reality show called Have You Eaten Yet? The premise was simple. Celebrities gather at a countryside villa, cook meals together, do light farm work, and chat charmingly for the cameras. The resident chef was a veteran named Master Dao, who had been praised by dozens of celebrities for his exquisite cooking. Behind the scenes, however, the show was infamous for rumors of scheming fake eating, terrible food, and rampant favoritism. Entire online communities existed solely to analyze the micro-expressions of cast members during dinner scenes. They called it food psychology. It was wildly popular. I arrived at the filming location while finishing an egg-stuffed pancake from a street vendor. The morning light was soft, the countryside air smelled like hay and possibility. Then I saw him. There was a young man sitting in a simple white shirt and dark trousers on the terrace, enjoying the morning breeze. Broad shoulders, narrow waist, and a profile so sharp it could cut glass. He looked like the protagonist of a photo shoot for expensive watches, just casually dropped into a farming reality show. Every single staff member and guest was swarming around him, offering tea-adjusting cushions, making sure his chair was perfectly angled away from the sun. Solon grabbed my arm with the grip of a man who had just spotted a unicorn. "Do you know who that is?" I squinted. "Is he someone important?" "That's Kael Ashford." His voice dropped to an urgent whisper. The Kael Ashford. His family basically owns half the luxury port developments on the East Coast. He's one of the most powerful men in the capital's business circle. Nobody knows why he's here. He never appears on variety shows. Something very strange is happening. I considered this information while chewing the last bite of my pancake. Maybe he just wanted a good meal. Solon flicked my forehead with practiced disapproval. "Do you think everyone is like you? Only thinking about food." I rubbed my forehead. "Is there another way to think?" He let out a long, exhausted sigh. "Listen, when we go in there, I want you to pour him some tea, serve him some food. Don't just bury your head in a plate. Be respectful, but not obsequious. Make sure he notices you. If this man so much as glances at you with approval, he could toss you resources from his little finger that would make you an A-lister overnight." I nodded seriously. "Got it. Pour tea. Serve food. Don't eat like a feral animal." The moment I stepped onto the set, the livestream comments began flooding in. "There she is, our internet meal buddy. I've already prepared instant noodles ready to eat along with her. Finally, someone who will test whether Master Dao's cooking is actually good. She's going to expose this whole operation by accident. I'm calling it now." Thanks to my viral moment, I had graduated from completely unknown to marginally recognizable. The other guests greeted me politely as I arrived. All except Kael Ashford, who kept his eyes downcast with an expression of complete indifference. As if the arrival of a nobody like me mattered less than the temperature of his tea. I scanned the kitchen area quickly. Seafood platter good. Various cuts of meat excellent. Fresh produce very good. Assorted mushrooms absolutely fantastic. No dietary restrictions anywhere in sight. After exchanging hollow pleasantries with the other guests, I decided to head toward the kitchen to offer help and to subtly ensure the chefs would go light on the chili. At that moment, Kael Ashford, who had been completely silent and aloof the entire morning, finally spoke. "Thirsty." It was a single word delivered as if he expected the universe to respond immediately. The other celebrities froze. Then they practically tripped over each other, rushing to pour him water. A rising young actor managed to reach him first, bowing slightly as he offered a cup of premium tea. "Mr. Ashford, please try this tea. It's quite exceptional." Kael didn't even touch it. He lifted his gaze slowly, sweeping past the crowd until his eyes landed directly on my face. "You." I pointed at myself. Me. He raised an eyebrow. Otherwise, oh, I had no choice. I walked over and dropped into the seat beside him. I poured him a cup of plain water and set it down with a little more force than intended. A fair amount splashed onto the table and a few droplets landed on his hand. The guests and staff stared at me with expressions that clearly said, "Are you actively trying to destroy your career?" The live comments exploded. Did she just splash water on Kael Ashford? The last female celebrity who tried to get his attention ended up blacklisted so fast her agency didn't have time to blink. She's getting way too arrogant from that one viral moment. Wait, why does it look like Kael actually knows her? Off camera, Solon was frantically waving his arms at me, mouthing apologies to the air. But Kael simply wiped the water from his hand without concern. He picked up the glass and took a slow, deliberate sip. His fingers holding the glass were elegant and steady. Just as everyone began to breathe again, my stomach let out a loud, prolonged growl. The microphone clipped to my collar amplified every note. The staff went pale. The celebrities went still. Solon looked like he was mentally drafting his resignation letter. The live comments were merciless. This girl genuinely cannot be stopped. The way he just sighed and smiled slightly, I'm losing my mind. Did nobody else see that tiny smile? I covered my stomach awkwardly. How am I hungry already? I just finished an entire pancake. Kael suddenly spoke, his voice casual. May I ask when we might begin eating? The guests exchanged glances of pure relief. Master Dao immediately rushed forward. Mr. Ashford, it's far too late for farm work today. I'll begin cooking right now, and we'll have dinner within the hour. Thank you, Kael said, and perhaps leave the chili out of a few dishes. Of course, of course. Everyone scrambled into action. I stayed seated beside Kael, listening to the endless stream of flattery from the other guests. One particular rising actress kept inching closer and closer to him until she was practically in my lap. So I decided to retreat to the kitchen to help with the cooking and get away from the suffocating atmosphere. Just as I started to shift my weight, a hand landed on my thigh beneath the table. The cameras couldn't see it. The tablecloth hid everything. I froze. I stealthily poked the hand. It turned over and laced its fingers through mine, holding tight. I cleared my throat and quickly used my free hand to refill his water glass. Would you like more water, Mr. Ashford? His expression was slightly softer now, less cold than when he'd arrived. He looked at me. What did you just call me? I paused. I glanced at the camera pointed at us. The celebrity sitting directly across from me. The microphone clipped to my collar. I was trapped. Because how exactly was I supposed to address Kael Ashford in front of all these people? Yes, Kael Ashford. Billionaire heir to the Ashford luxury empire. One of the most powerful men in the capital. That Kael Ashford is my husband. We are legally married. And if I told anyone this fact, they would laugh me out of the room. Because I am nobody. A D-list celebrity whose only claim to fame is the enthusiasm with which I consume pork products. But the truth is, he's not just my husband. He's practically my childhood betrothed. For this, I have to thank my father. Years ago, my father was gathering firewood in the mountains behind our village when he stumbled across an unconscious boy. The boy had escaped from traffickers and had been running for days. When my father found him, he was barely breathing. Back then, the technology for finding missing persons wasn't what it is now. Information moved slowly, especially in remote mountain regions. It was nearly impossible to locate the biological parents of a child found in such a place. So Kael stayed with us. He became my shadow, my partner in crime, my unofficial family. He followed me up mountains and down rivers. He fed the pigs and herded the cattle beside me. We went to school together, we studied together. I caused trouble, he took the blame. He fell ill, I watched over him. Whenever I wanted something to eat, he saved every coin he could find to buy it for me. As that face of his, that absurdly beautiful face, slowly matured, it turned the heads of everyone in 100-mile radius. Grandmothers swooned, children stared, animals paused mid-chew. It wasn't until the summer I turned 18 that the trafficker was finally caught. Kael's biological parents traced him to our village, arriving in a sleek black vehicle with an emblem I didn't recognize. The villagers told me it was an expensive luxury car. I'd never heard of the brand. Must be a cheap one, I reasoned. Our village chief drives the one with 5 interlocking rings. That's the Olympics. 5 rings definitely beats 4. The family reunion was emotional and dramatic. One of my uncles sighed and said, "Our family was about to strike it rich." My parents simply told Kael's parents about his years with us, accepted a modest sum for the meals they'd provided, and then went out to the pig pen with their butcher knives. One swift motion. 1 pig gone. Kael's parents went white as ghosts. Later, Kael held me close and kissed me for a long time. He pressed his cheek to mine and whispered hoarsely, asking me to wait for him. I nodded. Years passed. He didn't return. I wiped my tears and moved on. Then Solon found me. He said I had a face the camera would love and a spirit that couldn't be crushed. He gave me 5,000 credits to join a talent competition. 5,000 credits. Enough to eat pork knuckles until I transcended mortality. So I accepted. Naturally, I was eliminated immediately. The internet roasted me. Watching her dance is like watching a giraffe learn to walk. I've seen more grace in a collapsing building. Solon refused to give up. He dragged me through the industry, hustling for every appearance. I played zombies. I portrayed villainesses. I even wore a full creature costume for a children's show. None of it worked. Then one night, a shameless executive took me to a private dinner party behind Solon's back. And at that dinner party, I saw Kael Ashford again. He was nothing like the boy who herded cattle beside me. He was elegant and aloof, dressed in a custom-tailored suit, surrounded by people desperate for his attention. The same executive who had sneered at me yesterday was bowing so low his forehead nearly touched the floor. The minor celebrity beside me whispered quietly, "That's Mr. Ashford. Just returned from overseas." Compared to him, our boss is nothing. I kept my head down, saying nothing. But I felt Kael's eyes on me from across the room. His gaze carried a physical heat. When I excused myself to the restroom, he followed me. He backed me into the cramped stall and kissed me without stopping, and said he missed me. The shamelessness was exactly the same as when we were children. And then he convinced me to marry him by saying one sentence. "I'll buy you anything you want to eat." I was completely defeated. I went from being a regular wholesale customer on discount platforms to a distinguished VIP client of luxury designers. And also a senior connoisseur of every gourmet restaurant in the city. Materially fulfilled. Spiritually content. Recently, I'd been home with him for several shameless days because I was too obscure to have any work. Then suddenly, I gained a bit of popularity and my schedule exploded. When Kael heard I was joining this reality show, his face turned black. I was genuinely afraid he'd grab a belt dip, eat an antiseptic, and beat me while disinfecting the wounds. But the next day, he still let me go. I thought he was supporting my career. Turns out, he just came to join the show himself. And now he was making me call him husband in front of millions of viewers. I couldn't help feeling overwhelmed. If I actually said it on camera, my agent would probably faint on the spot. And by tomorrow, the story of how I fell into a pig's trough as a child would be excavated from the depths of village gossip. So I fawningly rubbed my hand against his beneath the table. "Mr. Ashford," I said respectfully, "how about I make sure you're well fed tonight?" To an outsider, it probably looked like I was groveling for favor. But Kael's throat moved visibly, and his eyes lit with a satisfied gleam. I could practically hear his thoughts. This shameless man was already planning something indecent. Dinner was finally served. The spread was genuinely impressive. The live comments flooded in. "This looks incredible. I'm drooling. How is Master Dao this good at cooking? Look at that. He just pushed Lyra aside and sat right in the middle again. Of course, he's the most senior guest besides Mr. Ashford. I didn't care at all about being pushed aside. I was staring at the dishes with an intensity that probably concerned nearby wildlife. Master Dao cleared his throat with great ceremony. "Welcome, everyone, to our humble gathering." He looked at a certain rising young actress with notable fondness. "Welcome, Miss Seraphine." Seraphine lifted her glass gracefully. "Thank you, Master Tao. I promise to finish everything you've prepared today." "Good, good." He turned to another popular idol, the lean, delicate type. "Eat plenty, young Liam. You have filming tomorrow." Liam gave a weak chuckle. "Thank you, Master Tao." Then Master Tao turned to me. His expression flickered. Clearly, he couldn't quite recall the name of this newly popular yet still fundamentally obscure celebrity. "Welcome." "Welcome to you as well." I got the generic greeting. My lips twitched into an awkward smile. "Thank you, Senior." Then I lowered my head again, staring at the food while desperately swallowing saliva. I couldn't take it anymore. I was genuinely dizzy with hunger. Finally, Master Tao turned to Kael with profound respect. His earlier arrogant tone completely vanished. "Mr. Ashford, your presence truly honors our humble show. I made sure several dishes have no chili. They're very nutritious." The other guests chimed in with enthusiastic agreement. Kael listened with an indifferent expression. "So can we eat now?" Master Tao's entire prepared speech died in his throat. He awkwardly raised his hand. "Eat. Let's eat. Don't be shy." That was exactly what I'd been waiting for. I immediately went to fill a large bowl with rice. The popular actress Seraphine had been shooting me subtly hostile glances since I arrived. Especially after seeing that Kael hadn't reprimanded me, she grew even more pointed. She looked at my bowl with exaggerated shock. "Lyra, you actually eat that much." I thought the internet was exaggerating. I held my bowl and answered honestly. "Not an exaggeration at all. I genuinely eat this much. When I was small, we were quite poor, and I always gave the best food to Kael, though he'd always end up stuffing it back into my mouth. But I still crave it. So when I grew up and had a modest income, I spent it all on eating." Seraphine proudly displayed her tiny decorative bowl. "We serious actresses can't eat much for our craft. Afraid of looking bad on camera. It's so painful." The victim act immediately fired up her fans in the comments. Our poor Seraphine working so hard, she barely eats. She's gotten so thin, my heart aches. I tilted my head. But didn't you just say you've been craving Master Tao's cooking for months? It's fine to indulge a little, isn't it? Seraphine's expression froze. Master Tao, who clearly enjoyed having his cooking praised, immediately picked up a serving spoon and heaped another mountain of rice onto her plate. Exactly. Seraphine, eat more. Once you leave tomorrow, you won't get to taste my cooking again. Seraphine stared at the suddenly enormous pile of food before her. If she ate it, she'd be uncomfortably full and might gain weight. If she didn't, she'd offend Master Tao on camera. With the cameras rolling and Kael Ashford watching, she quickly recovered and smiled sweetly. Thank you, Master Tao. I'll definitely savor every bite. The comments were merciless. Am I the only one who thinks Seraphine was subtly targeting Lyra just now? It's fine, our sister was just curious. Speaking of which, if Lyra can eat that much without gaining weight, isn't that just a perfect metabolism? What a diplomatic way to say fast metabolism. I couldn't see the comments. I didn't care whether Seraphine finished her rice. I simply picked up my chopsticks and began eating. First bite, braised pork belly. Greasy, fatty, cloyingly sweet, like they had personally murdered the sugar merchant and used it as a tribute. I felt my throat clog with sweetness. Unable to spit it out, I shoved 2 large mouthfuls of rice to force it down. But when I looked up, every celebrity at the table was eating with expressions of pure bliss. They're all such excellent actors. I thought. So why are the dramas they make so terrible? Kael noticed something was wrong with me. He took a bite of the same dish and immediately frowned. He set down his chopsticks, didn't touch it again, and drank half his water. Seraphine, who had been watching Kael like a hawk, immediately asked with concern, Mr. Ashford, is something wrong? Did you choke? Kael nodded politely. Too sweet. Seraphine let out a small ah of understanding. Then she suddenly turned to me. Do you also find it too sweet, Lyra? I noticed you only took 1 bite and stopped. The attention swung toward me. Master Tao's gaze was sharp as a blade. If I said it was bad, I'd make an enemy. If I said it was good, I'd contradict Kael. I took a calm bite of rice. What do you think, Seraphine? What? I noticed you haven't taken a single bite. Don't you like it? Seraphine's expression crumbled. Master Tao turned sharply toward her and served her another generous portion of the sweet meat. Exactly why aren't you eating? Here, have more. Seraphine stared at the pile of cloying sweet pork atop her mountain of rice. Her forced smile was slipping. Thank you, Master Tao. I truly love it. The comments were gleeful. Lyra actually has brains. Seraphine walked right into that one. So, Master Tao's cooking is just okay after all. Better not say that too loud or you'll get blocked. The dinner continued with the usual hollow compliments and theatrical appreciation. But at least I managed to eat my fill. When the meal ended, the live stream shut down. The guests returned to their rooms to rest. As a heavyweight figure, Kael naturally received special treatment from the production team. A spacious private room was quickly prepared. As for me, I had to share a room with Seraphine. I was genuinely worried about the hostility radiating from her like a furnace. Then my phone buzzed with a message. Kael, come here. I hesitated and typed back. That's not appropriate. The reply came instantly. Sweetheart. Then should I come to you? I shot upright. I'm on my way. The moment I stepped into the corridor, I ran directly into Solon. Where are you going? I froze. I... He frowned. Are you hungry again, Lyra? Are you actually a pig? All you do is eat, eat, eat. Here, take this work meal I just grabbed. I was indeed hungry. But I suddenly remembered Kael hadn't eaten much tonight. I quickly took the meal. Thanks, boss. Solon rolled his eyes. Eat somewhere private. We can't let this momentum we've built get ruined because you got caught sneaking food. Got it, got it. I crept toward Kael's room while no one was watching. Just as I lifted my hand to knock, the door swung open. I was yanked inside and pressed against the door in a kiss that left me dizzy. A sudden knock sounded. Seraphine's sweet lilting voice floated through the door. Mr. Ashford, the mountain mosquitoes are terrible at night. I have some repellent. Would you like some? Kael was too busy to respond with words. Seraphine knocked again. Mr. Ashford, are you asleep? I see your light is still on. Mr. Ashford, I have some matters I'd like to discuss with you. Are you available? Kael finally pulled back and answered coldly. Not available. I'm occupied. After such a clear rejection, Seraphine's voice carried a wounded note. Please don't misunderstand, I only wanted to show concern. Unfamiliar with you. Goodbye. All right then, rest early, Mr. Ashford. She retreated reluctantly. At that moment, I couldn't hold back a small sound. I immediately covered my mouth. Kael teased softly. Sweetheart, keep your voice down. If anyone hears, you'll be upset with me again. Shut up. I was completely helpless. Seraphine naturally heard it. She paused in her steps, clearly wanting to ask something, but not daring to. Not long after, I heard her frantically asking the staff if anyone had seen me, her voice growing more desperate with each question. The next morning at dawn, Kael was urgently called away on business. The life of a CEO is truly legendary. They wake earlier than roosters, sleep later than guard dogs, and somehow maintain the stamina of thoroughbred horses. After he was collected by his team, I slipped back into my shared room. Seraphine, who had been cold toward me the previous day, was already awake. Or rather, she clearly hadn't slept at all. Dark circles ringed her eyes as she glared at me with barely contained fury. But she just rolled over and said nothing. I was too tired to care and fell back asleep immediately. When I woke, filming resumed and a new guest had arrived. His name was Jian, a freshly popular young idol with striking features and an easy smile. He could strike up a friendly conversation with anyone and was surprisingly warm toward me. During farm work, he didn't slack off. He tackled every task diligently and even helped Master Tao in the kitchen when the work was done. I didn't need to read the comments to know this kind of warm, outgoing personality was exactly what audiences loved. But I had to admit, his cooking was genuinely a level above Master Tao's. At the very least, his dishes were properly seasoned. After a long day of labor, the other guests were too exhausted or too concerned about their figures to eat much. I, on the other hand, had been working hard all day, and I devoured 3 large bowls of rice with undisguised enthusiasm. Jian watched me with surprised delight. Lyra, for people like us who cook, there's nothing more satisfying than seeing someone truly enjoy the food. I offered genuine praise. That's because it's actually delicious. Your cooking is excellent. Jian's face lit up. Wow, thank you, Lyra. I suddenly feel like I could marry you just to cook for you every day. I nearly choked. Thinking of the jealous man waiting at home, I immediately responded. That is completely unnecessary. Jian was probably just joking. He laughed it off. But for the rest of the recording, he stayed by my side, even giving me extra cooking tips. I couldn't escape him no matter how I tried. All I could do was pray that Kael was too buried in meetings to watch this episode. The comments teased relentlessly. Lyra coming to this show is like a mouse falling into a grain silo. Honestly, Lyra and Jian have great chemistry. One loves to eat, one knows how to cook. I'm shipping them. No way. Kael and Lyra have way more chemistry. Who doesn't love the domineering CEO and the clueless wife? Before dinner, my recording session ended. I said goodbye to the other guests, and Solon drove me away. Sitting in the back seat, eating an upgraded deluxe egg pancake, I listened to him update me on my popularity. The reception has been excellent. You've gained substantial followers. But Seraphine's fans are relentless slandering you. Though strangely, Seraphine herself keeps intervening, telling them to stop. I was only half listening, focused on my pancake. Then Solon's phone buzzed. He glanced at it. Then he let out a strangled sound and physically fell off his seat. He stared at me from the floor of the vehicle, his eyes wild with shock. I felt something was wrong. I pulled out my phone. Kael Ashford. Verified account. I'm on a business trip, not deceased. Stop trying to marry my wife for her cooking. Attached was a photo of his culinary school certification. The comments under the post were apocalyptic. Wait, what? They're married. All those fanfics weren't delusional, they were prophetic. No wonder Kael kept looking at her like that during the show. The behind-the-scenes footage shows someone pulling her into a room by the hand. It was him the whole time. I was just starting to ship her with Jian. Are they legally married? Yes. The answer was yes. Kael Ashford, billionaire, heir to the luxury empire, had a chef's certification. He knew I was a food enthusiast. He was genuinely afraid that some other man might win my heart through my stomach. So, despite his impossible schedule, he enrolled at a prestigious culinary institute and earned his credentials. Frying stir, frying, boiling, braising. He mastered every technique. So, usually after I finish the meals he cooks at home, he gets to enjoy me. A perfect closed loop. Kael's post caused a sensation. Our relationship was naturally exposed along with it. Netizens quickly rewatched every detail of our interactions on the show. I thought Kael kept looking toward the entrance earlier, as if waiting for someone. Turns out he was waiting for Lyra. No wonder their fan content and trending topics never got taken down. We were all just characters in their private drama. My fan count exploded past 20 million. Every major celebrity followed me. The top trending topic was my name sitting at number 1 with an explosive tag beside it. Solon, who had been terrified moments ago, seeing me collapse into Kael's arms and act completely besotted, had recovered enough to handle the malicious posts. Some people accused me of being Kael's kept mistress or a third party. So I posted a censored version of our marriage certificate. Not to show off. But this kind of ugly gossip could affect Kael's business reputation. The negative posts vanished. People asked me how to attract a wealthy partner, what rules to follow, what strategies to employ. I answered honestly. I know how to cut pig feed. I can herd cattle. I can farm land. Being able to eat a whole pork knuckle in 3 bites helps too. If none of that works, just eat well and don't waste food. The comments went quiet for a moment. Then someone wrote, "So, the secret is to stay grounded." A few days later, with no actual works to my name, but having become inexplicably famous, I brought Kael back to our village. The familiar smells of hay and animals and simple country life surrounded us. My father and mother sat at the door holding their butcher knives. Good. No dogs were set loose. They weren't furious. Without a word, Kael walked over and dropped to his knees with a solid thud. The apology was genuinely sincere. My parents were so startled they nearly dropped their blades. Kael, what are you doing? It's my fault. If you need to hit someone, hit me. My father snorted. How could I hit you? Your bodyguards are watching from the trees. The moment I raise a hand, I'll be taken out immediately. My mother was more concerned. Since you're already married, do your parents have any issues with the match? Kael considered. Money isn't their concern. They're mainly worried your family might come at them with butcher knives. My parents exchanged glances. Why? I timidly raised my hand. Because I'm pregnant. Yes. I'm pregnant. And I've been throwing up whenever I eat. So it turns out Master Dao hadn't murdered the sugar merchant. It was just morning sickness. I had nearly ruined his reputation. I'd need to write an 800-word apology essay and post it online. The news of my pregnancy brought Kael overwhelming joy. He stopped going to his company, entirely spending all his time learning about prenatal care and cooking for me. When Kael's parents heard about the pregnancy, they scolded him for being shameless while simultaneously fearing my parents might arrive at their doorstep with vengeance. After all, the memory of my father wielding that butcher knife was still fresh in their minds. So they've been exceptionally caring toward me. The family atmosphere is surprisingly harmonious. My popularity continues to climb. Invitations for films, dramas, and variety shows flood in by the hundreds. But Solon, concerned about my health and gently intimidated by Kael's silent pressure, reluctantly turns down most of my work. Still, I insisted on taking a few advertisements to earn some baby supply money. Instant noodles, braised pork knuckles, chicken feet, fried chicken. Food advertisements perfectly match my essence. The comments are merciless. Thank goodness Lyra is a celebrity and Kael has a family fortune, otherwise the angle coefficient would be catastrophic. Making money is genuinely joyful, but it's also miserable. Because I can only endorse the products, not eat them. At the prenatal check, the doctor said the baby was quite large and my delivery might be complicated. Kael's face went white. After we returned home, my food intake was strictly controlled while ensuring proper nutrition. I craved food so desperately I dreamed about eating. One night, I couldn't resist any longer. I crept out of bed and found a package of boneless chicken feet in the refrigerator. Just as I was happily sneaking a bite, a cold voice spoke behind me. What exactly do you think you're doing? I trembled and turned my head. Kael leaned against the wall, his expression dark as a storm cloud. I wanted to explain, but my mouth was occupied by contraband chicken feet. Every time I tried to speak, bits of poultry sprayed out. Kael sighed. He reached forward, pinched my mouth gently, and extracted every chicken bone. Then he spoke with helpless tenderness. Endure it a little longer. I'll make you something even better in the future. Finally, after nearly 10 months of suffering, I gave birth. Kael knelt beside me, his eyes red-rimmed, wiping sweat from my forehead. Do you have anything you want to say? My hand trembled as I raised it. Give me a deluxe egg pancake. 3 eggs. Extra chili. I'm starving. Kael's tears vanished instantly. He sneered and pushed my hand back down. The egg pancake stall is currently in a conflict zone.
Give up.
What a heartless man. I'll eat him out of house and home someday.